Dr. Chelsea Weeks, and I'm the founder of Minder. Today I'm going to explain why Minder was created. I'm also going to describe the dual phase process. And lastly, I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons you should choose Minder. Why was Minder created? As a clinical neuropsychologist, I specialize in the assessment and treatment of people with brain disorders that affect thinking skills, or what we call cognition. I decided to create Minder after working in several academic and hospital settings and becoming increasingly frustrated by how inaccessible neuropsychological services had become for many patients. Let's talk about one such patient, and I'll call her Suzanne. Around age 50, Suzanne noticed that she was misplacing items and forgetting names more often than she used to, and so she brought this up to her primary care doctor. He told her that it was probably just normal aging and that she should stop worrying. Suzanne, however, did not stop worrying. In fact, she continued to worry about her memory for months. Finally, her doctor agreed to refer her for cognitive testing. When Suzanne called to schedule her appointment, she was told that the neuropsych clinic was booked solid for the next 6 months. After waiting and worrying for 6 long months, she finally completed the evaluation. To her surprise, at the end of the appointment, she was told that the results wouldn't be available for yet another month. By the time Suzanne received her results, 14 months had passed from when she first noticed memory problems. Sadly, Suzanne's story isn't unique because there just aren't enough neuropsychologists to meet the current clinical demands. This inaccessibility is also contributing to an epidemic of stress and worry related to cognitive decline. To highlight this problem, let's talk about another patient who I'll call Robert. Robert completed a neuropsych evaluation after experiencing a concussion and was told that he did not have a cognitive disorder. However, he was convinced that his memory was worsening. He requested a follow-up evaluation 9 months later, but was told that repeat testing wasn't recommended. With increasing anxiety and nowhere else to turn, Robert started scouring the internet for ways to improve his memory. By the time I met Robert, he had been worrying about his memory for over 2 years. He had also spent thousands of dollars on so-called cognitive supplements and hundreds of hours playing brain games that he thought would improve his memory. He was shocked when I told him that neither of these would improve his cognition. Countless experiences like these highlight that most people today do not have a provider or healthcare company that they can turn to for correcting misinformation and providing science-based recommendations for cognitive health. I created Minder to be a trustworthy source for evidence-based assessments, treatment, and education aimed at improving cognitive function and reducing fear and confusion related to cognitive decline. What is the dual phase process? Minder developed the dual phase evaluation process to increase accessibility and reduce costs for patients. Most neuropsychology clinics require all patients to complete a 4 to 6 hour appointment. However, much of this data is only useful if the patient is diagnosed with a cognitive disorder. This is because we need a lot of information to make conclusions about what we call etiology, or what is causing the disorder. So for example, let's consider 2 patients, Pam and John, both of whom undergo a full 6-hour evaluation that cost them each $4,500. At the end of the evaluation, I diagnosed Pam with major neurocognitive disorder. Then I looked more closely at her pattern of performance across many tests to determine that I think her memory problems are likely caused by vascular dementia. Now let's consider John. In contrast to Pam, I do not diagnose John with a cognitive disorder. Therefore, I don't need to look at his pattern of performance to determine etiology. While all of the test data was pretty useful in Pam's case, in John's case, some of that test data just isn't very useful. I could have saved John a lot of time, energy, and money by approaching his evaluation in phases. At Minder, John and Pam would both complete a 2-hour cognitive evaluation, but only Pam would be referred for an additional 2 to 3 hours of testing. So why should you choose Minder? Here are the top 5 reasons. The first is greater speed and accessibility. Minder offers much quicker scheduling and delivering of results and diagnoses. Whereas many clinics have long wait times, as long as 9 months, Minder typically books appointments within 30 days. Minder also offers immediate feedback to most patients, whereas other clinics typically take at least a month to provide results. This means that with Minder, you'll spend less time waiting and worrying. The second is lower cost. Minder's dual phase process reduces costs by 40 to 60% for most people. Most patients will only need phase 1 testing, so they can save thousands of dollars by approaching the evaluation in phases. For the minority of patients who are recommended for additional testing, the overall costs are still at the lowest end of the price range nationally. The dual phase process also increases out-of-network insurance reimbursement rates. The third is a better patient experience. Minder provides all services virtually through our online portal. This allows patients to access neuropsychological services and expertise from the comfort of their own home, rather than having to travel long distances. The dual phase process also saves time and reduces fatigue. Whereas the typical cognitive evaluation lasts 4 to 6 hours, at Minder, most patients will only need to complete a 2-hour appointment. The fourth is we track cognitive health over time. While other clinics don't offer annual cognitive testing, at Minder, we believe that everyone has a right to track their cognitive health. At Minder, patients have the option to undergo annual cognitive testing at a discounted rate. We also offer quarterly tracking and goal setting related to several brain health factors. The fifth is that we offer evidence-based treatment and education. Media and websites often spread myths and false information related to cognitive decline. To help reduce fear and confusion, we created Minder to be a trustworthy source for evidence-based treatments and education aimed at improving cognitive and brain health. Thanks so much for watching this video today. To learn more about Minder or to book your first appointment with us, go to mindermemory.com.